Hello and welcome to an anatomy of an order card. So I'm just going to go through how an order card is laid out for War Trigger at the third law. So we've got a Align Core order card here called CQC. So I'll just walk you through the different bits of this. In the top left here we have the limit of the number of copies of this card you can have in your order deck for your force. So when you're picking which cards, the 12 cards you're going to take for your force, CQC for example, you can have at most 2 copies of CQC. It's 2 for most cards. There are some where you can have more, some where you can have less, but most of the time you're going to have the option of 2. In the top right, we've got the initiative score of this card. So this is only really used during the initiative phase right at the start of the game, when you're discarding some cards to try and outbid your opponent. But it does give you kind of a rough indication of the power of the card, because normally something's got a very high score here, so it's going to be very good to help you win initiative. It's probably a good card that you're basically giving up until later in the game to have that. Similarly, if it's a low number, they're between like 1 and 9. If it's a low number, then probably it's not quite as a powerful card. But that's a very rough guide. So then we've got the type of order that it is. So here we've got an action order. So it's either going to be an action order, a reaction order, or it's going to be an interrupt. And we'll talk a little bit about what those mean in a second. You've then got the core text of the card, which kind of tells you what your unit's going to do if you issue this order to them. And then at the bottom here, we've got a little bit of flavor text, give you a bit of a lore about the world. We've got the basic order that this card can be played for. In this case, it's an attack. And we've got the faction symbols here. So we've got the 2 Align Core faction symbols, just telling us that this card is used in Align Core decks. So when you choose your faction that you're going to build your force from, you're going to be picking some Align Core units, and you're going to be picking some Align Core order cards. A couple of other things to note about this one that is kind of maybe useful is that at the top here we've just got the title of the card. So it just says CQC. So that means this is a faction order card. That means any Align Core units can receive the special order, the main text in the center here. If I compare this to this one here, which is also, you can see it's got the Align Core symbols, it's also an attack card, and therefore it's also an action order. But you see at the top here, we've got the card name, which is Spot Target, but also we've got this unit name kind of above this line here, Scout. So what this is telling us is that this order card can only be issued to Scouts in order to play this kind of special ability down here. So only the Scouts can receive this. Anybody in your army can receive this. However, it's important to note that if you're not worried about using the kind of the special text here, then you don't need to worry about whether it's a Scout or not. So Marines, Sarge, the Executive, the Sniper, they can all receive the basic attack order. So just this bit at the bottom here, this basic attack order from this card. They just can't benefit from the special text, which only the Scouts can take that order. The other thing to remember is you can always discard any card in order to be able to give the standing order that's on the back of the unit card. That's a basic attack card, and that's kind of the basic overview of it. Let's just have a quick look at some of the other types of card that you can get. So we've got a move card here. So again, this is March. It's an Align Core card. Its basic order is move, so again, anyone can take this move basic order at the bottom, but the specific order here for your Align Core units here is let them move twice, but can only be used by infantry. That specifies in the text there. And again, it's limited to 2 of them. It's an initiative score of 2. It's just called March, and this is an action order. We're going to look at the third type of action order. So this is an interactor. In this case, we've got on mission. So again, we've got the specific text here for this particular order. It's an action order. You can only have 1 of these in your deck. You can see there's a bit of a thing kind of limiting it down there. The basic order this time is interact, which is useful if you're going to use an objective or pick up something you've got to carry somewhere for carrying out your missions. So interacts are generally very focused around kind of completing your mission objectives. So all 3 of these are action cards. So these are orders that you issue on your turn to your units in order to get them to do things. There's 2 other kinds of order card. So we have the reaction order here. So you can see this is called Take Cover. So again, same layout as we've already had. You can have up to 2 of these in your deck, initiative value of 1. It's a reaction order. We've got the core text here explaining the kind of special reaction you can do, which in this case is basically allowing units that are being shot at to jump behind some scenery and maybe benefit from some cover. But it can always be played, like any of the other cards, for its retaliate basic order, which lets you attack someone who's been issued an order. That's a reaction order. You play reaction orders on your opponent's activation. So when your opponent declares an action with one of these three kinds of card, then you can react to that by playing a reaction order and have one of your units do something about it. The last type of order card that we've got is an interrupt. So this one here is called Hoorah. You can have up to 2 of them. It's got an initiative value of 8. Tells you it's probably a pretty good card. We've got some core text here for specifically what it can do. Again, it can always be used for this ability at the bottom here, heal, which will let you heal 1 wound, one of your units. But what this one particular here does, lets you remove all attached order cards from a unit or remove all attached winded cards for its special ability. Now the thing that's different about interrupts to all of these other types of order cards is interrupts you can play on your activation or on your opponent's activation. You can play multiple ones a turn. You can play interrupts when you are not necessarily issuing orders, so you can do it when you're planning or reinforcing or doing other things with your activation other than issuing orders. And whereas with all of these, with the reaction orders and the action orders, you need to discard cards from hand for any cards that are attached to the unit that you're issuing an order to, you don't need to with interrupt. You can just play it for its effect. The only real limitation with interrupts is you can't play them in where they would affect a model that is currently involved in an action-reaction resolution. So if somebody has got some Marines and they've started shooting at your skitters, then you wouldn't be able to play an interrupt order on them during that. But you could do before that, and after that's been resolved, you could play that on your opponent's turn or on your own turn. That's pretty much it. That is the anatomy of an order card. Thank you.